yeah, did that, and the company, unfortunately, with the recession, I I don't want to say, but I believe the investors were American, and they were hit hard, so they just like stopped investing altogether, and couldn't get enough money in time, and the company had to close its doors, and I realized the ride was over, and I sat back and I thought, okay, I'm good at nothing else except music, and I wasn't even that good, but I say I need to make this work. So I started making music all day, every day, and yeah, started up a label and started up another one, and then made money, and then made more money, struggled, and then now it's decent. So it was like, like a path of 3 years or something. And then now I'm streaming. The guy you see today. Not really. I got laid off, and I had a bunch of time. And yeah, I didn't want to work construction or compete with others to get back into whatever I was doing. Yeah, but it sucks. But it's cool now. It's very awesome. Yeah, and I'm at the point where I don't really have to worry so much. And I'm just like, okay, well, I've sold, I don't mean to brag, but I've sold into the 5 figures, and all these people that I'll probably never meet, everyone who bought a track off me, like on iTunes or Beatport or whatever, I want to give back somehow. What can I do to give back? And I remember there's a speech on YouTube by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Look up Arnold Schwarzenegger inspirational speech. That's basically, I listened to that pep talk and then I pursued music. And one of his rules was give something back. And the other one is work harder or sleep less. And another one was sleep faster. Yeah, that one. He said sleep faster. I was like, oh my god, he's right. And there was a period of time, like my wife would wake up at 6 in the morning to go to work. I'd wake up with her and I would boot up the computer and start making tunes. I treated it like that. And there was a point where I ran out of money. I wasn't doing too well, and I would skateboard to work to wash dishes for 12 hours, and then I'd come home and I'd write music for 6 until I literally collapsed. Well, not really collapsed. I'm exaggerating, and then I just fell asleep, and I woke up at 7 in the morning to do it again. I did that for 3 months when it was starting to take off, and after that, and then I was able to quit. And I was like, see ya. Sorry. Gotta go. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know, it's weird. Especially since it's, you don't get paid every 2 weeks. It's a little bit different in the musach industry. How do you know which type of synth patch is going to go well with the others in a mix? Hold on. I just got a wall of text. So, first one is what type of. Okay, how do I know which kind of synth patch? I don't really go through synth patches, but when I do, I go for like synth. I go like lead and then pad. Or no, that's a bad example. I separate them. Like if the track is thin, I'll add a pad, something wide. If the track is too wide, I'll add a like a lead kind of thing. I mean, what kind of program? Oh, not necessarily a patch. Well, yeah, same applies. There's wide sounds, and then there's like straight down the middle sounds. The bass lines usually straight down the middle, and then you have the wide sounds, and I think you need a mixture of two. Right? So like right now, like this bass, it's like low and it's middle, more or less. And then like this kind of sampley bit is wide. Right? And then there's like soft sounds, like pads that don't have a punchy start, which is the opposite of this. Right? They have a lot of transients, but some are like the pads and the strings. You know, you need a mixture of those. That's how I kind of look at it. And I don't know, you just kind of develop an ear for it. Like, you know, oh, this would sound good with something like this. And then you go for it, and then it works. Or it doesn't. Yeah, I hope I answered that. Okay. Reminds me of the beginning of Sophie Needs a Letter. Oh, yeah, maybe. Some things I'd like to learn is how to do my own Vengeance House loops, as it seems like a lot of my drums, you can hear the bass in the hand. Yeah, your loops are busy. So you want to learn how to do your own Vengeance House loops. So building your own loops, because when you stack up loops, they're busy, I think. That's what you're asking. Also working with new instruments. To put over samples. So that's a two-part question. I'm just trying to think of an example and how I could explain it. Okay. Yeah, well, basically, first part, to make your own drum loops or house loops, you could take like the one-shots and kind of put them together, like so. Or you can chop them up. But if they're... you can't hear the bass, hat, snare. They're just busy, full, and work together. Yeah, well, that's when EQing would go well. Okay, I'll pull up one. So, okay, that's a big one. So you're saying... So you're saying that you drop loops down and they're busy and they don't, and they like... And then you can't hear the bass. You still there? So you have... So yeah, obviously that's busy. I just don't want to explain this and you being like, that's not what I meant, you idiot. Lol. Yeah, with one shots. So to make with one shots, yeah. And you're not into using the loops. They do fill up everything, and yeah, that's one of the things. It's like a necessary evil, because the guy that makes these, he makes the loops and then he pre-processes them. Yeah. Oh yeah, you go through loops and you don't find one. So when you can't necessarily find one that you're into, again, it's best to like kind of build your own. So it's not that you stack them up and they're too busy. Okay. So you want to like build your own kind of house loop. So we'll just oops. So basically, like a house loop would be clap, and then hi-hat, and then closed hat, and whatnot. And are you using Ableton 9? Because you can kind of extract the loop and then quickly audition. If I can find one. So you can take this guy, assuming you're using Ableton 9, and you can convert drums to MIDI. Yeah, or you can, if you're working in something else, you can kind of go through it. So you have this. Hopefully those work. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds all fucked up. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing, bro? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, for the sake of ease, you can convert to drums to MIDI, right? And then you can take your one shots and you can just replace the one shots. Yeah. So you can take like a loop you kind of like, and then replace the sounds, right? That's a bad example. Okay, so you wanna you wanna build your own kind of loop. I didn't like how that sounded either. Typically, yeah, it's just if you want everything to sound good together and build your own loop, you just take your clap. And if I knew how to do that, so you just basically you use a half a bar, right? And these are pre-shifted. I'll turn this down a bit, right? Because you don't want to do like the full bar, you want to do a half bar to start out. And then what you can do is you can take that and then you can go to maybe a loop you like, right? You can take that, right? But then these claps would clash, right? So you just kind of duplicate that, right? And then you have that thing where, you know, you have more of a control about what you want to stand out, right? And you can even chop that out. So it's like it's full, like takes up the space. And then it's a matter of using it as like a template. This is kind of like I work. I use it as like a template. Because, you know, right? There's like a hit there and it follows a swing. Right? And then you can kind of drop this guy there. That's a bad example. Right. And just like replace sound. Why do these hats sound so shitty? What the hell's going on here? Anyway, you can kind of do that. This is basically how I make loops, and you know, even more so, you can kind of stack them up, right? So you take that, and that's another kind of hi-hat. We'll kind of have this separately. So there are two hi-hats going on. right? And then you can pan this one 12, and then pan this one 12. I don't know why 12 is a magic number, but then it's kind of